Welcome to the Westhampton Beach Planning Board meeting for Thursday, February 23rd. Our next meeting will be on March 9th. Information that needs to be submitted needs to be here 10 days before that meeting date. We have a couple of determinations. We have 3 determinations. The first determination is DLB DD LLC, 379 Dune Road. Anybody here for the applicant? I need a motion to accept the resolution as written.
Make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
AS Affiliates, 20 Stillwaters Lane. Anybody here for the applicant? Would you mind us waiving the reading?
Thank you.
I make a motion. Aye.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Diane. 28 Library Avenue LLC, 28 Library Avenue. Anybody here for the applicant? I need a motion to waive the reading of the
I make a motion.
determination and accept it. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Go ahead.
Our first application this evening is.
We're gonna go out of order. Jim has asked for a special favor. He has a client who needs to catch an airplane. We're gonna start with 15.
Okay, and then, but he's not doing all of his applications?
No.
Okay, just that one?
Just that one.
Only a small favor, not a huge favor. The rest of the people here might rise up.
So we're taking the
Okay,
app.
so application number 15 is Westhampton Property Management LLC, 140. Applicant seeks site plan approval to convert and renovate a restaurant building for a grocery store with a roof over entry, 1-story addition and associated site improvements on a 3,400, 223 square foot assemblage of parcels in the B2 zoning district.
Good evening. For the applicant, James N. Hume, 323 Mill Road, Westhampton Beach, and with me is Joe Guerrera, who's the principal in the LLC applicant in this matter. And thank you for your courtesies on behalf of my client. He needs to catch a plane out of Kennedy, I guess, at 9 o'clock, so he was getting a little nervous. So thank you for that. So as indicated, we're seeking to take the old Clouder restaurant and turn it into a Cinderella's. And basically, we're going to convert the interior space of the existing building into the grocery store. What is also proposed is approximately a 1,700 square foot addition to the back of the building, which will contain the coolers, basically. That won't be public space. And so in a nutshell, that's the application. We need to obviously deal with parking, with entrance and exits and things like that. I acknowledge receipt mostly today, but prior as well, of a memo from the building inspector, a memo from the planner, and a memo from the obviously need to address. But I did want to come tonight since it was on, and to just basically introduce the project and as we go down.
Well, again,
road
the
here.
suggestion was made that you get this on the ZBA
Yep.
as quickly as
Yep,
possible.
I'll be working on that probably tomorrow, so we'll get that.
So you need to be there on what, the 27th?
I'm not sure when that is.
Deadlines
Well,
are-
I'll work out the
Okay.
dates with the
All
building
right.
inspector, and we'll hit the
Okay.
deadline on that. Basically, we need that relief for the addition, I believe, well, for 2 reasons. One, the addition is closer to the side lot line. I think we can get a favorable decision from the zoning board on that, because we're right up against the parking lot of the old hardware store property, and which is being redeveloped. The other issue here has to do with the fact that, well, we're a tenant, we're not the owner of the property, and the property is spread out, the use is spread out over 4 separate tax lots. Those lots, at least so far, they're, zoning board as to what relief we might need as a result of that. Experience in the village before the zoning board of getting accessory structures on vacant lots adjacent to principal structures on other lots, and reached an agreement that both lots would be not merged, but would work in concert, and they would remain in concert until such time as the use itself was discontinued. In that way, in those cases, we were able to preserve the individual identity of the lots, but assure the village and the zoning board in particular that those lots would all be used in concert together and would remain so for the duration of the use that's approved.
Anybody have any comments? Anthony? Brad is going to.
Can I just follow up on the merger? So they want to merge none of these lots?
Well, the question that we asked was all of them. We haven't really inquired yet of him as to whether the tiny little lots could be reassembled, so.
Because we have a landlocked lot and a tiny little narrow strip of a lot. I mean, if we're not gonna merge any of these, I don't even know what we're looking at.
Well, we'll work through that.
'Cause
I'm sure we can.
it affects the variance application,
Yes, it
obviously.
does. Oh, yeah. No, I understand. I understand.
Is this gonna connect with Avatar property next to it?
Which is Avatar? Is that, that's the old
Avatar.
hardware store?
Yes.
There's a,
Hardware store.
Sorry.
Yes, there is a cross-access commitment on that property,
Yes.
onto our property, and we have provided for space on our site plan that will accommodate that.
I see this. Is this enough room? I mean,
Yeah,
with the addition?
Yes. Yep. I believe it is. I mean, we'll look at that more carefully, but we are aware of the need for that, and we have attempted, at least thus far in our site plan, to accommodate that, because when we first heard of it, we were thinking it was coming onto us from the east, from the west,
From west.
the other west.
Yeah.
But in fact, I believe what was required is coming up at us from the south, and that's what we've shown on the plan.
Ron, do you have any comments?
I put them in a memo.
Yeah.
Yep, we have Ron's memo, we have the planner's memo, we have.
Planner's memo is very
Yes, it was.
comprehensive.
Yep.
So you've got a lot of work to do.
Complete,
How come that aisle is so wide that serves the refrigerators in the back?
because it serves the refrigerators in the back. You mean the
You can serve them with a forklift as wide as
well,
that is.
the trucks are gonna pull up there and they're gonna need
They'll back
space to
in.
back in and,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if we're gonna have garage doors or large entry doors or whatever, but we're thinking that we need the space to be able to manipulate the materials from the trucks into the, if that, we'll take a look at that as well. That certainly may reduce the variance that we need if we can reduce the width of that.
I think you ought to straighten out where your trucks are making your deliveries. You have the front door, but we need to know where things are coming into it too.
Right, I think the plan right now, and we'll make this clear as we go forward, is that the trucks will come into that back area and deliver produce, et cetera, directly into the coolers in that area, but we'll make that clear.
I had also made a suggestion that you might wanna look at, a second means of egress.
Yes,
to
yep,
help the pedestrian flow through the site.
right. And we could perhaps retain or maintain the entrance in the front of
Would
the
that be
building
like
as well as the side.
Bridgehampton, the one that you go in one door and come out the other?
Right.
Seems to work good there.
We took a look I looked briefly at all of the materials I got today, and I did notice that one. I'm gonna meet with the architect and the surveyor on Monday to review all that, so we should be able to have a timely response to all of that.
So are we holding you over for the 9th or the
Yes.
23rd?
We're gonna hold over for the 23rd.
Okay.
Can we have the 9th? Is there some reason why we can't come back on the 9th?
We have a very busy agenda on the 9th, so we're gonna hold you over to the 23rd.
Okay. I'll be here on the 9th anyway, but.
We look forward to seeing you.
But apparently not for this.
I need a motion to hold the application over until 3/23.
Make a motion?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're gonna start the agenda.
Application number 1 is 85105 Montauk LLC, 85105 Montauk Highway. Is anybody here for the application?
Doesn't appear.
See Nick.
Okay,
We can't discuss it, right?
yeah. Ron's got comments, Nick's got a lot of work to do anyway. So we're gonna hold Nick over until March 23rd also. I need a motion.
Make a motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application is Westhampton Inn LLC, 43 Main Street. An email was sent to the applicant to appear, or we were gonna remove it from the agenda on the 9th. So we need a motion to hold that over till the 9th unless Jim wants to speak.
I'm actually no longer the attorney on that application. Already held over to Mr. Hayford.
Oh, we don't need no.
Really?
Taking over for mysterious reasons. Anyway.
Okay, I need a motion to hold the application over until 3/9. And
No, it's already, sorry.
We
it's
need
held
to-
over.
we need to make a note of that, that we need some substantial information at the next meeting from whomever's representing that week.
Next one is Prime Storage, 98 Depot Road. They're already held over till March 9th. Application 4 is 55 Old Riverhead Road LLC. They're held over to March 9th.
But Heather's requesting a holdover until 3/23. We don't have any objection to that. I need a motion to hold
Make a
over.
motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
The next application, Firestar Holdings LLC, is held over already till March 9th. Application 6, George Vickers, 25 and 27 Hazelwood, is held over till March 23rd. Application 7, Robert Schoenfeld, 22 Bayfield Lane, is held over until March 9th. First Dunes Development, 496 LLC, 496 Dune Road, application 8.
For the applicant, James N. Hume, 323 Mill Road. Good evening. I think I'm going to ask that that get held over till March 23rd. We went back in front of the zoning board on the, well, as you may recall, we got variance relief for the lots, but not the variance relief for the houses that we were proposing on the lots. And so we rethought the houses, reduced the size of the houses, and went back to the zoning board last week. Yeah. They closed the hearing for determination at their March meeting, so if we put this over to the 23rd, we should have that decision in hand at that point, and we can decide what to do here.
Aye.
Thank you, Jim.
Next application, 10 Mitchell Owner LLC, 10 Mitchell Road, is held over until March 23rd. The next application, 10 Rogers Avenue Associates. I need a motion to hold that over till March 9th. Next application, 11 DRL Irrevocable Trust and Carol Schechter Lane.
If I could have the second meeting in March on that one as well, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Application 12 is Westhampton Landings, 30 Mitchell Road.
Good evening.
Anthony Russo, president of Westhampton Landings Condominium. Last time we were here, there was an issue with the photometrics on it. We've since taken care of that. We presented it to both Mr. Hill and DeGratt.
Okay, well, I believe you've wrapped it. Anthony, may I make a motion to close the public hearing?
Do we
and
literally
put
have
it on-
everything else?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
I need a motion to close the public hearing in anticipation of a return.
Make a motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next application is 13 Michael Brunetti, 65 Main Street, Unit 5. Is anybody here for that?
I think Nick was supposed to be here, and we did get some revised, if you can call it that. I mean, I think maybe our message wasn't clear enough, that we were looking for an improvement, not a paint job.
So I wrote a memo and that was sent to Nick. So he should address that
Yes.
and maybe we'll motion to hold it over till tonight.
I make a motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Fahrenheit store, as noted. We had some generated some great comments and a very good dialogue with them. They did like the intent of what we were proposing. However, they did make some comments. I believe they forwarded it to the planning board. Primarily, the major concern they had was the color. And I believe the last time we were here, it was my fault that I did not bring a color palette. So this is that we're proposing on the elevations of the building. They did like the break, the horizontal break opposed to them. And they recommended for us to put the banner back and then follow through with the lighter color for the stucco finish. They did like on the, and they they recommended to the that came up was what we were doing with the adjacent three sides, east, the west, and the north. So we were in the process of discussing with my clients and have no problem with continuing the color all around the 4 elevations, painting all the windows black.
I know that the ARB actually was that we didn't want the black at the top, and we got from the ARB. I guess we're all confused about who got presented what.
Yeah,
To us.
yes,
and
sir.
apparently this somehow surfaced in my box and in everybody else's box as the drawing we're looking at and considering today, and what we assumed the ARB.
Correct. Yeah, so we had, when I did my presentation to them, I showed them what I presented before the planning board, and then, and I showed them the plain, simple one. Yeah, and I presented the simple one that you have before you tonight. And it was their suggestion to maintain the black banner, just to break up the horizontals.
Michael, you have?
I'd rather see it follow the building across the street that doesn't have the black on top.
Yeah, I thought that's what we had discussed, and
Yeah.
again, I thought that was the
you know.
plan that the ARB was, they didn't really make a recommendation. I beg your pardon? No. It doesn't matter, because the ARB is just advisory. This board makes that decision. We ask them their opinion, but we don't listen to them.
Oh, man.
Can you hold up the picture again? please?
Yes, sir.
with the black.
Yeah.
Maybe you could hold them up side by side.
You know,
We should hold up with the two white buildings
yeah, I
side by
will.
side.
Yeah, thank you. So, I obviously respect everyone's opinion. I just feel, as an architectural perspective of it, if we went with all gray, I just feel like it's gonna be
Keep
the black.
the black
Oh.
on the banner, but just not at the top.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was,
We're not
that was,
eliminating the black.
yeah, I was referring to the top.
Okay.
I just felt, it gives us a little cutting edge. I know that it's soft on Main Street. I just felt that it would break up the gray nicely.
Well, I think the comments we had and our planner had as well is to mimic what was going on. Go for-
Yes, I believe,
The one thing about the building across the street, shadow line under the protecting cornice, witness going across the top of that parapet.
right,
So
on the burner building. Shading, because of the way they stepped it in and out, which is on the elevation.
I think
Oh,
this other one, you know, that's fine with me. I don't know, I like the gray. I mean.
They're gonna add a fascia to it.
Well, I can offer a compromise right now. To arrive.
sorry? Yeah, are you opposed to that?
Fred, do you have anything to say on this? I-
Later meeting. You can come back before whenever.
You'd come-
Yeah. We can come back when everyone's.
If there's a. Or reject. You have to vote on it, so you.
recommend.
I can,
Specific issue.
And they don't mention. When the board in that document whatsoever.
said that they like the black at the top. I can attest to that.
Well, I can't see that from what they said.
Understood, oh, I'm just,
I'm
explaining.
not doubting you.
Sure.
I'm just telling you that, I don't have any way of.
That freeze board all the way front only,
Yes, sir.
and the gray out.
Correct.
Extraneous pipes along the side of the building.
Correct.
That's gonna be taken care of, right?
Yes, sir. Our recommendation, to them was, once we start the project, we're gonna evaluate, test, see what's live and what's dead, and we'll pull out whatever's not being used, of course.
Yeah, the old electric lines are up there.
Yeah,
That
they're
piping
not
for
doing
all
anything.
electric, that's not there anymore. All right. Well,
Shall we,
I don't think we're doing anything.
Yeah, but-
but-
Site plan.
waiver, yeah.
So, if you want, we normally do the written. If you wanna essentially straw poll that everything other than the black issue is to give them whatever permits they need. At the next meeting, you can RB and then deal with
And have
that black
full
strip.
board.
Prove that, prove. At least if you take a straw poll and let Brad know that the rest of it's okay, he can at least give them their permits for that.
Are we okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Brad,
Would that,
are you
would that
okay
set,
with
would that at least let you guys
That would be
get
excellent.
going on things?
Thank you. That's perfect, thank you so much. It's gonna take a while for us to get to that final color
Exactly,
regardless,
so-
so I appreciate that.
So just so the record's clear, that part's not being, nothing's being formally approved other than a waiver at the next meeting, and Brad can start issuing permits for you in the meantime.
Very good.
You'll still have to sort out the color issue.
No
And
problem.
they have to get the trustee's license for the.
Well, that's a
forms.
separate, right, that's a separate application. For the encroachment.
So then I'll make a motion that we hold them for 3-9, predicated. All in favor?
Aye.
You good?
The next application is number 16104 Main Street LLC, 104 Main Street.
For the applicant, James N. Hume, 323 Mill Road, Westhampton Beach. You should be somewhat familiar with this property, as this, I think, is the third planning board application we've had in the last few months. The first was to reestablish the subdivision of this property into two separate lots, which you approved. The second was to, and now we're before you for the reconversion of a space on the second building on the front lot, the back building on the front lot.
This doesn't impact sanitation.
Yeah, we're gonna deal with the sewer
Right.
connection.
But it doesn't deal, we don't deal with that.
So, yes, you do deal with it, because it's not if it's a straight connection, nothing, the board doesn't get involved with the sewer connection. For this. But any application that increases design flow or increases a parking demand, it's still before you. So the sewer doesn't really change anything for this board. What changes in the back end is you go to wastewater management for your approval that you would typically see. Instead of having an on-site sanitary system design, it's a line that says sewer, a line that says water line, and they get an S9 from the sanitation division of DPW, and then they issue that black stamp, and you would see a wastewater management approval just like any other application.
Do you have any objections to permitting this?
The only question would be the parking. I mean, this applicant came before when there was the 3 lots before it was subdivided.
Right.
To get the salon on the first floor, had to get the sanitary flow is not an issue now, but there is a question about parking, because none of these, there's no parking really on this site. There is a driveway, I believe, but an apartment requires 2 parking stalls. So what's, it's a little,
Was the second floor used for a salon?
that's how they had the approval written for as like an accessory office or storage space for the salon.
It had been an apartment before.
Because the way, you may have to look at how that application was done. And it was done for sanitary, but whatever was up on the second floor, when that transition was done, had some grandfathered rights to parking, and now you're trading it off against, I guess it would be retail, and now you wanna go back, so.
Right.
Even though there's no parking, I think you just have to look at
Well, there
that,
was-
what it
to
was,
that
what it
point, there was a-
became.
Since there was an office storage space, it had a parking requirement
Yeah.
already. I don't believe that anything was required because it was within the grandfathered rights of the property. We're now returning back to what was there before. So the situation on the ground really hasn't changed. It's, you know, there is no parking on this spot, but there was no parking before.
But has the number gone up?
I don't, well, we need to.
Because that's the question, like,
No.
if you make changes where the number goes down, that becomes your new grandfather number.
Right,
To go, and I just haven't analyzed this.
Yeah.
And so,
right.
someone's gotta come forward and say, here was the number at this point in time, here's the number based on the schedule at this point in time, current,
Mhm.
and what's the argument? Because if you need to go back up, you may need to go for a variance.
If you had more than 400 feet of office up there at 1 per 200, then you have 2 spaces.
3 spaces, if it's more than 400.
If it's more than, well, yeah, you may.
We can do that
Well,
analysis.
that's why, so you gotta make
Yeah.
an argument
Yes.
as to what
If you can,
the, do some analysis.
okay, well, we'll,
It is more than 4?
Because it shouldn't be more than, it actually shouldn't be more than 400, because you were trading 2 parking spaces in as the original apartment.
well, that's kind of my point, is
Yeah.
that there was no parking issue before because we were trading 2 spots for 2 spots.
Yeah.
But if you need something in writing to demonstrate that,
It's 500 square feet, it probably washes out. I just don't want to lose the process because we are going to be seeing applicants looking to put apartments over spaces and.
Right. And usually we like that stuff shown on the site plans too,
Okay.
the parking calcs, because then when you have an approved plan, that's the new approved site plan. It's got the parking calcs, the existing and whatever it is that's being approved, right on there, the
Mhm.
grandfather number. So
And,
usually that's how we like to do
and the
it.
plan that was submitted was pre-subdivision, which we shouldn't have. We should
Right.
have
okay,
just,
we can
the-
fix all that.
Current
just the
configuration.
southerly lot, not,
Okay.
nothing with the northerly lot.
That's true. This would be the first, right?
All right,
It's like reestablishing individual site plans now that we have individual lots.
okay.
So you have a clear direction?
Yeah,
3.9 or 3.23?
3.9,
Let me ask something else, now that this is the more administrative.
yeah.
Now that you're hooking up to the sewer system, I don't think this, I'm not sure this ever had site drainage in the form to capture roof runoff. So maybe we could reutilize the leaching fields that you got there to capture that.
This was actually the
Yeah.
poster child, when we first,
Yeah.
Yes.
when we first looked at doing that, this was the lot that was on our radar that said, finally we'd be able to get some drainage on here, when you could
We'll take
repurpose
a look at
those
that, and we'll see if
systems.
what's there is sufficient for,
That seems to be a path we're gonna utilize frequently now.
and, as long as this poster is not in the post office, we don't mind being the poster child.
But the way the code was passed for the sewer connection is any sort of increase in flow, and I know there was an apartment here, but we can't really
Mhm.
discount where we are.
Got it.
It does go to wastewater management. Now, it's gonna be a limited review on their part, because they're probably just gonna kick you to the sewer.
Right, we're just gonna check off the box that says we're being served by a local community septic system.
So a portion of this plan is going to show a sewer connection for both buildings, and we'll reuse some of that sanitary, those rings that just went in a few years ago. So
Okay, perfect, thank you.
I need a motion to hold the application over until 3.9. Make a motion. All in favor? Aye.
The final application is number 17, New York Cancer and Blood Specialist at 40 Main Street.
For the applicant, James N. Hume, 323 Mill Road.
Busy guy.
Yes. Yes. Where am I? What am I doing?
I believe you're on the zoning board on March 16th.
We were at zoning board last week, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, like that pen?
No, it hasn't been closed yet. There's no zoning board meeting on the 16th anyway. Yeah.
You got Ron's comments, right?
Yes, I did. So just let me introduce this whole project. You're all familiar with St. Mark's, I'm sure, and there's a separate annex building, if you will, that for many, many years was used by family counseling to provide counseling services. The applicants in this matter are seeking to convert that building to still a medical office, but for women's health care, and in particular, mammogram, ultrasound, and breast MRI imaging. They have identified this area as being underserved for those kinds of services, and this was a nice, small, intimate space where they could deliver personalized service to their patients. This is all outpatient. There's no inpatient aspect to this, and it's mostly imaging and some treatment that will take place. The other thing that will be housed in the building is a small office for the applicant's foundation, because they do provide financial aid and grants for some of the people seeking the services. It's a 4.2 acre site. The footprint of the building is not changing at all. It's a 3,400 square foot building. It will be a 3,400 square foot building afterwards. However, as Mr. Hill pointed out, there is a proposed utilization of the basement level of this building that may impact the parking count on this property. So that's something that I need to look at. But as indicated, we're also tracking through the zoning board because, interestingly enough, I thought it was interesting anyway, this property is zoned R2. So that this may or may not be a permitted use in the space that is being proposed. So we're currently in front of the zoning board. We did have a hearing last week where we presented a number of different theories from a use variance aspect as well as accessory use or just a continuation of an pre-existing non-conforming use of the subject property. We're going back there again the end of next month, I believe, for further discussion on that, because we did present an awful lot of information to them. But in a nutshell, assuming we can get that, and assuming we can meet the parking requirement, and I will go through as suggested, I will go through the village records and see what the history of parking was on this site. This seems like a very nice, benign, is that a right word to use for a cancer center? Use at this particular spot. It's a use that's of great importance to St. Mark's because they, as I presented to the zoning board and will present more detail about this, St. Mark's derives almost 25% of its annual revenue from the use of that building. So it's an important feature for them as well. The other question I had of the board related to SECRA, and I'm not 100% certain how we might proceed. The building is less than 4,000 square feet.
It's probably a type 2 action.
Okay.
So it's reusing a building that's under 4,000 square feet. Oh, but there's a
does-
variance involved.
Use,
Yeah,
I think
that's-
it's under 4,000 that does not require a change of
Variance.
zone or use variance, so.
All right, if it was an area variance, that's exactly what I thought, but I didn't know. Now, if the zoning board chooses to grant it on one of my other theories, then it's not a use variance, but that's what's.
If they were to approve it on an interpretation, then that's true.
Right.
It would be. I mean, one thing that came up at the zoning board meeting was that part of their analysis is to look at the impacts of the actual proposed use, and we talked about getting your process started so that maybe you could weigh in on that, because what you guys look at in terms of the site plan and the impacts on the site, and what Ron and what Britton and Brad look at for the site plan review, may be some information that they could use some guidance with. So I think the idea of getting both going, both planning and zoning going at the same time, it's not gonna be a one and done situation. We've had many of these where there's enough at play that both boards are gonna be looking at it at the same time, weighing in on it. So
And we're looking, I'll have some more information probably next time about the actual proposed use, how much staff will be in the building, how many patients will be treated per hour, what the hours of
Do
operations
they
are.
have a facility anyplace else of a similar nature that you can use as a
They have
guide?
facilities around Long Island and a couple upstate New York, but I'm not sure that, this is kind of a unique venture for them in focusing specifically on women's health and focusing really specifically on breast cancer. But I mean, I can check on that, but I can certainly provide you what they believe will be the traffic. And the one thing that I'm happy that Mr. Hill mentioned in his memo is that it's really the same use category, I think, is what he said.
That's not a Mr. Hill question, so we can move on from it.
I know it's not a Mr. Hill question, I just, I need all the support I can get, so.
Maybe on 2 floors are close, but.
Right,
the
well, no, I mean, it's
basement
still
was
a
very
medical,
different, as I
it's still the same,
From
This
a-
is-
At least from a park, I think that was Ron's point.
yeah,
was
from the
just a
parking perspective, yes,
standpoint, it wasn't
Right.
changing
Right.
the
yeah, no. that's-
parking calcs.
Well, except again, it
Well, it may.
Except with
how-
respect to
how
the
the basement was
potential.
used, which
Right.
is.
No, I mean, medical use is parked differently than non-medical. This
Yeah.
is medical, so I don't think that's true.
Okay.
But again, we don't have a site plan for this, so we need a site plan. The other thing that when we did the Main Street work, they connected the rear parking lot and the southerly parking lot. I mean, the village supported that. I think we might have even done the work, so that they wouldn't be stuck not being able to use their facilities. But I think they'd like to keep that, so I mean, it seems a good time to incorporate that connection into whatever site plan
The connection between here and.
your northerly parking lot and your southerly parking lot on the northeast
Oh, okay,
corner of the
connecting
property.
those two
That was never done on a site plan, that was done on a convenience through the Main Street project, so that you could get in and out of your facility while Main Street was being tore up.
Oh, okay, but that's done, but it was never reflected on the site.
Right, and if they want to keep it, then that should be
That's got-
reflected
yeah.
on a site plan that this board can approve.
Okay,
It's a good opportunity.
sure.
Anybody else? I don't think the board has any real objections to this. So we're gonna hold you over till 3/9.
Please.
Make a
Need a
motion?
motion? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to close?
Thank you.
Second?
Unanimous. Think that's it? Okay.
I don't know if anybody knows, this is my son Leaf.
Leave. Leave, the family went to Puerto Rico on you? They left you here.
In your mailbox, I don't know what it is. I'll tell you that. Oh.
Beth actually needs it.
Do you want me to use her? See you in the morning.
At least someone's getting a suntan.
Oh, 'cause she's gonna be in East Hampton, sure.
They've been some ways.
This in the disclosure.
Today
Let me
looked
think,
fun.
let me think. If there's any reason for me to take it.
Today looked
Good night,
fun,
Jim.
actually. You know, it had this cross up, east swell, but it just looked really hollow in spots.
I'd text her, 'cause it might be that she might want these copied, in which case I could give them.
We can also make another copy downstairs,
Yeah.
so you can take a set.
Yeah.
You can test it.
Get rid of it.
Can you fit this?
Get it out of
I
there.
don't really care. You just need to change.
Yeah.
How do you fit this big one downstairs? Can this fit? That's not one. Well, 'cause we have to
Forget it.
we have to
Sorry
actually
I even
scan
offered.
it. We actually have to scan it. That was the whole issue, is that we need to make sure